Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Football Chronicles with Damon Mason. And of course, my name is Damon Mason, better known as Coach Mason. And actually, uh, episode number two of Once Upon a Time, Once Upon a Time in the Arena Football League. So I was very excited to complete episode number one yesterday live. As I told you guys, my goal is to be consistent. Didn't know I was going to go live early this morning, but I'm off today. I want to do this before I go watch my son at football practice. So while I get my settings and everything together, I hope you guys enjoy this background music. But first and foremost, thank you for tuning in and watching this live, watching the video recording. And I hope you guys have a blessed day. So just give me a couple minutes and we'll get started. All right, guys. We'll do that. All right. So once again, guys, welcome to Football Chronicles with Damon Mason, and episode number two of Once Upon a Time in the Arena Football League. Now, as I reflect on yesterday's episode, I kind of want to change it up a little bit. Yes, it's story time, but there's a reason why I'm doing this. And as quickly as I can put it, because of the many titles, the many different hats that I wear as a recruiter, a scout, recruiting coordinator, I should say, especially a mentor and a few other things with Diamonds of the Extensions. And as you guys, if you don't know by now, you know, for the past 12 years, I have embarked on an endeavor to create a company that will provide a platform to help young boys and young girls, student athletes, starting as early as the sixth grade through high school, but also to to connect with them through their collegiate years, well into their endeavors in pursuit of becoming a professional, regardless if it's in their a professional in their respective sport, or just as a professional meaning a productive citizen, working citizen in society. You know, and that's probably the most important factor of the one of the titles that I hold as a mentor, because I think, but if I can't speak for anyone else, but from experience, I know that there are many different forms of adversity that we all will experience as individuals, as human beings, male, female, black, white, it doesn't matter. Um, but the bottom line is, I know the impact that the positive impact that can be made by having good leadership, good guidance, when these things happen. So for me, just to be in a position where I can not only be a mentor to young adults, to young kids, young teenagers from high school through, well, again, sixth grade through high school, to be with them, to build a relationship with them, and have that relationship grow and blossom throughout their collegiate years. And so by the time they're ready to get out of college, to either pursue a professional career as a professional athlete, or just once again, as a young adult, but they embark on a whole nother chapter of their life as a part of society with the working class. Those are some things, man, that we all had to experience, and I'm grateful to know I'm grateful that I had positive men and women, godly men and women in my life. And again, for my faith and my beliefs and everything that I had to experience and endure, it was having a solid foundation that was based on the word of God that helped me overcome. Because at some point in time, there are going to be things in life that we experience that mom can't help you with, dad can't help you with, you know, your best friends, your wife, whoever it is, you know. So, and I'm speaking out of my own life. So anyway, guys, that's kind of a rough. I don't want to say rough draft, but kind of a small, quick background of the reason why I'm doing this. So, with that being said, I won't recap episode number one, but episode number two of Once Upon a Time in the Arena Football League. Well, let me put it this way: as I was sharing episode number one, now I'm at the point at the beginning of episode number two where, because of my faith in the Lord God, and having the one-on-one conversation with God, that was in three different parts. The first part, or the first stage of the conversation with the Lord, was my confession of faith. Actually, no, it wasn't my confession of faith. It was kind of just reminding God that, Lord, you blessed me with the talents and abilities and everything that I've accomplished, everything that you gave me. I know that my career, I can't see you give me all this here, Lord, for my career to be over with right now, my football career after college. All right. Phase number two was the conversation, my confession of faith. Because of, I know that you gave me the talents, I know that you allowed this to happen, Lord, I'm going to play football again. So I was boldly, humbly but boldly, just telling God, Lord, I know I'm going to play football again because I know you gave me this here. So I wasn't being disrespectful, but I was stepping out on my faith. Lord, I'm going to play football again. I don't know how, don't know when, I don't know where, but I know I will. And then after my confession of faith to the Lord, it was time to put my faith to work. And so I started working out. I started preparing as if I was already a professional football player. And I said it. I spoke the words. I spoke into existence. Now it's time for me to start working like I'm already where I want to be, because that's what I was taught. And that was the conversation. I remember my mama telling me that, sometimes it's going to take for us, God wants for us to start doing things as if we already have it. And not only was I doing it, I was willing and boldly speaking it. I was telling people, look, I'm gonna play football again. So confession of faith, speaking into existence, putting my faith to work. And then if anyone spoke negative about what I was sharing with them, they was not a friend of mine. I don't care how you spend it. Reality, no, I don't. Yeah. Reality is reality, but I have faith, and I know faith and reality is two different things because you can't see faith. Faith is believing in something. And I can't even say I shouldn't even put it out there, but you can't see the things that you believe in when it comes down to faith. And I hope I said that right. I hope I said that right. But the bottom line is, if people who's in my circle, in the outer circle, you didn't believe in what I was believing in, then nah, you know what? Hey, look, we can't be cool like that. We can't, I can't talk to you. You definitely can't talk to me because what I'm speaking and what I'm thinking, we going in two different directions. And that's my quick recap. So now, in the beginning of episode number 2, after everything that took place, I find myself in a position where I'm in Orlando, Florida. I'm in Orlando, Florida in the spring of 1998. First time head coach Jay Gruden, who at the time was a young man. I didn't know, of course, I didn't know he was a former football player. And my stories are really about things that are more relevant. I remember him picking me up and him and I walking downtown Orlando. And I remember when I signed my contract, I felt so blessed. And and he would tell you I was talking a hole in his head. I remember that. And I'm walking downtown after signing the contract, and I'm just so overwhelmed and excited and feeling extremely blessed. I remember I had a pocket full of coins. I don't know why I had it, but I had a whole bunch of coins, and I just gave it to. There was a homeless guy on the street, and I gave it all to him. And I remember Jay looking at me, and 1998. Now I remember this, and I remember telling him something like, "Man, I'm blessed. For 6 months, I was home in Louisiana working 3 jobs. The NFL didn't give me the time of day. I went to Canada and got cut. Now, what I failed to say was, and I was, let me backtrack right quick. What I failed to expose in episode number 1, which is relevant, I want to say a day or two before I left to go to Orlando, when Jay picked me up from the airport, when I actually showed up a day early because I was that excited. I don't know how I got on the plane, but I had to work out with the New Orleans Saints. And it's very relevant because it relates to what I'm doing now, what I'm trying to do for high school student athletes, putting them in position for scholarship opportunities. My cousin, Aubrey Branch, became one of my lawyers because it was always a family decision that, everybody in the family kind of seen the talent that I had, and it was something that I wanted, and it's something that I wanted to do. Have a family member who became an agent, just so I can have someone who's in the inner circle of conversations that agents were not really having amongst me with coaches and yada yada yada. So when that time came, my cousin became certified to become an agent, and when I didn't get, when I didn't receive any type of trials or nothing with the NFL, went to Canada, got cut, I became my own agent. I started shopping myself around to NFL teams, calling coaches, sending film. And then once I sent film, just following up with them, then I would call my cousin, like Jay would say, my agent cousin. I would call my cousin and say, "Cuz, look, I just got in contact with New Orleans Saints. This is the individual I spoke to. Now, cuz, I want you to follow up with him, because they're gonna talk to you differently because you're my agent. They're not, they're gonna talk to me differently. And that's just the way it is." And that was 1998. So I was already doing these things, not knowing that I was gonna be doing these things for high school kids and doing some other things that I planned on doing that I won't disclose right now. I kind of give y'all a hint what's going on or what's about to happen. But So I reached out to the Saints and got in contact with another name that the true New Orleans Saints fans might know. Another great running back. We consider a great running back for the Saints. Hokie Guyton. He was a scout for the Saints, and I reached out to him because he recruited me in college and basically was able to secure a workout. Worked out for the Saints. This was in the Mike Dicker era. I ran a 4.43 for the Saints, and long story short, they were very excited. And they was like, well, where you been at? Where you going? I had to remind them. I live in La Place. I'm on about 20, 30 minutes away, depending on traffic. I went to Louisiana Lafayette at the time, the University of Southwestern Louisiana. I was the MVP of the state of Louisiana. So in my mind, I'm like, what do you mean where I've been at? I'm the MVP of your state. Y'all know who I am. Bottom line is, it is what it is. But I told them I went to Canada, I got cut. They was like, man, you mean to tell me that Canada is that good that they cut you? Well, look, long story short, guys, they was like, well, look, I said, I'm actually about to leave to go play arena football. Well, good. We knew how to find you. We knew how to get in contact with you. I mean, it was an exciting time. I cried all the way home because I knew I had to impress the coaching staff for the New Orleans Saints. So I'm thinking this is about to pop off for me. So anyway, now I'm on a plane to Orlando. I mean, blessing after blessings. Again, as I said, episode number 1, I was taught that when God pours out blessings, he pours it out in abundance, overflow. And right now I'm overflowing with joy and opportunities. So again, I'm in Orlando, Florida, and this time my first professional contract, and so I went, and so this story is, again, is in motivation, to young boys and young girls. So I want to tell a story. I have to share the reason for the story once again. You're gonna experience some things, guys, girls, parents, kids. You're gonna experience some things, and as I was taught to believe that, there's always a reason for everything, and there's always a blessing behind your experience, but you have to humble yourself and be willing to look for that blessing, and the best way I can put it is from my own example. Like, okay, God, I know you're in control. I know you're in control of everything. I know this happened for a reason. I don't know why it happened, but I know it happened for a reason. So I'm just gonna wait. I'm waiting patiently for the answer, for it to reveal itself. And now, so back to the story. So now I'm in Orlando, Florida, and I'm getting ready to go through training camp, and again, just things that are very relevant. The respect that Jay Gruden gave me and showed me, the love that he showed me, the admiration for my game. And I'm saying that, guys, because the stuff that he was doing, he didn't have to do. Um, he would tell people, and I can remember Jay would tell people that, man, look, if Damon Mason says something, I take it, it's solidified. I seen where he grew up. I seen where he came from. Now, he never been in my house, he never been in my neighborhood, but I knew what he meant is, like, you know what, the kid wanted an opportunity. And I was the kind of kid that, look, man, this is, and I would tell Jay, look, God used you to give me the opportunity the NFL never did. So whatever you give me, man, it's a blessing. Whatever God used you to give me is a blessing. I'm doing what I love to do. So when I'm at practice, I'm trying to take as many reps as I can. I mean, there was guys, I'm gonna give a lot of guys some shout out in the short time I have left. And episode 2 will be over with, but it was more of, I was so excited and thankful for the opportunity that I didn't want to take nothing for granted. Guys would get mad at me because I was trying to take all the reps. Hey, man, I didn't have this opportunity 6 months ago. I know how I feel to be the best, to be one of the best, and people know your abilities, and for them to still not give you an opportunity, I'm not taking nothing for granted. And I think Jay realized that, and he would come, you know, I didn't have a car, so I'm catching a ride with the guys. I don't want to be late, and I didn't like that. I didn't like that in college. And I remember I brought my first car before our first game. I lied. After my first game, $600. I brought my first car ever, a '94 Isuzu Rodeo, stick shift, and I couldn't drive stick, so I drove at night only because there was less traffic, so I can practice. But I lied. One of the jobs, one of the three jobs that I had before I played arena football, I was a detailer at a car detailers, well, a car dealership in Laplace, Louisiana, and all I did was wash cars, keep the cars clean. Anything that a detailer did, I did it. That was one of my jobs, and I used to take the stick shift every day in practice. So, and remember I told y'all coming home from Bible study one day, I went and prayed, laid my hands on the sports utility vehicle. Just if the man of God is preaching this here, and he's teaching this here, Lord, where I'm at right now, I've, I've tried everything. I've done everything I thought I could do. This is what I'm saying. I thought I did everything that I can do. Everything that I was able to control, I did that. But Lord, now I see I'm in a position where I need you. I need to trust you. It's easy to say I trust you, but I need to trust you. So I went and laid my hands on a sports utility vehicle. And not only laid my hands on it, when I used to be on the computers, and really we didn't have a computer because that was before computers really was not like that. Schools had computers. So another my job was I worked for a cleaning company. A fancy word for saying I was a janitor. So that was my second job. And I used to be on the computers, and I'm just doing research on sports utility vehicles. So I was I was I was not only speaking things into existence, I was thinking it. It was in my subconscious. Everything that I've accomplished, guys, trust me, it came at a price that I was willing to pay, and it wasn't a bad price. Patience, persistence, perseverance, faith, hard work. These are principles that goes along with being accountable, responsible, and self-discipline. So again, I'm telling a story, but I'm saying this for a reason. I've shared these stories many times. And it's not just in sports. You'd be amazed at how you can take something as an athlete, and it's for the young athletes, the young men and women who play sports in college and get the opportunity to go to the pros for whatever reason. The difference between Damon Mason and a lot of guys in my era, even a lot of young guys, young girls today, I couldn't quit. I didn't want to quit. I ain't nothing wrong with giving up and pursuing something else, but I knew what I wanted to do, and because I wanted to do it, I was willing to do what I had to do. But it came with a price. It came with a price. There's a reason why I'm not coaching right now. I played professional football for 14 years. Some guys play a few years in the Arena Football League. Some guys played a few years in the NFL. Some guys played many years. And people, and I was in a position where people were asking me about longevity. But longevity comes in because I was willing. Willing means I was humble enough to know that I was older. There was younger guys coming in, and it was, I'm not gonna say better than me, but it was good, and it was getting a lot of publicity. So I watched film. I studied these guys. So anyway, because I'm getting off. I know again, looking at my time. So I have my car now, and Jay Gruden would do stuff like, you know, I remember having a 3-man bedroom apartment. There were three of us, and all of my roommates ended up getting cut at some point in time. And yeah, I'm nervous. I'm very nervous, and I guess Jay picked up on that, and he would do stuff like, "Don't worry, you're not going nowhere. I don't want I know your roommate got cut, but I don't want you to worry about that. I just want you to keep doing what you're doing." And I think he said that because I said episode number 1 when he seen my highlight tape. The man told me, "You don't have to try out. You have to come play for me," because he's seen common sense. He's seen what I was capable of doing on the football field. Now, granted, I made the team, and I never forget this. And I'm saying this guy, these are things, and I guess you could say I'm giving a shout out to Jay. And there's a reason why I'm giving a shout out to Jay, because that's, as my episodes grow, you guys will see for yourself. But I can remember my first game, my first real game was against, I want to say the New York team. I can't say that what you call it, the Dragons, I don't know. And the first guy I had to cover was Cleveland the Jet Pratt. I hope that's his name. He was the Jet. And the reason why I'm sharing this part because again, I was thinking about this earlier. Jay Gruden reminded me of my high school position coach, a man who I consider a mentor and a man who I'm proud to say that I love. That I have much love and respect and admiration for him for what he did for me throughout my life. And that's Tim Rebowe, who's the head coach at Nicholls State. Being a young coach, Jay Gruden reminded me of Coach Rebowe. And what Coach Rebowe used to do every game for the 3 years that I was a starter in high school in his defensive backfield, his secondary. Every game, the man would come and talk to me. I mean, he would pamper me. He would come when I say pamper me, he would help me make sure that my my pads were straight. My anything I needed, Coach Rebowe was there, and he just talked to me. He talked to me. So now I'm a professional football player. My first regular season game, and I never forget Jay Gruden and we're in. I want to say it was a scrimmage. Yeah, it was a scrimmage because Chris Barber came back for the regular season game. So I'm playing. If you know anything about indoor football, arena football, as a new guy, the hardest thing to do as a new defensive back is cover the guy in motion. And now, granted, I'm covering one of the fastest guys in the league. Anyway, so Jay, before the game, we in the tunnel, Jay just came up to me and he just talking to me. He said, "You're the best out there. You're great. You're good." It's like he gave me so much confidence. And the man did that throughout my entire career up until a certain point in time, which would come episodes later. But my love and respect for Jay grew early. And all this was doing my rookie year in 1998. I started every game. And Jay would tell me stuff like, actually, I lied. That was in that year. That was in that year. But he showed me a lot of respect. But what he did do as a rookie, we used to watch film. Again, I was a rookie. We had a lot of vets, had some other rookies, but I think Jay saw something in me. Because I know I showed him that I practiced hard. And one of the greatest football player in arena football history, Barry Wagner. Me and him used to go at it every day. Nothing but love and respect for B Wags. If you see this man, and Jay be like, man, Wags act like he hate you. It's kind of like the relationship with Kobe and Mike. And I said that 'cause I've been watching that recently. And it was, but it wasn't. But more, we had that relationship more so on the field that he was a great football player. This guy played any position. But Damon Mason, I felt the same way about myself, especially as a defensive back. So and Wags was a receiver. So we used to go at it every day in practice, and it showed on the field. So as I close, my rookie year really was a lot about. There was a lot of growing pains for me. It was building a bond with Jay Gruden. Earning the respect of a lot of men, grown men. I'm 24 years old. A lot of grown men who kind of took me under their wing. Connell Manor, Corus Irvin, Chris Barber, who's our starting defensive safety. Like I said, Barry Wagner, Bruce Lassane, Webby Burnett, Victor Hall, um, uh, Rich McKenzie, the little crazy self, Rick Hamilton. I know I can't get everybody, but we had a lot of veterans, and those men. I said, man, them boys, them guys are coming there drinking coffee, and I'm like, man, y'all that old. But then having someone like Jay Gruden, Les Moss, and the late great fan Pop Sedero, who passed away years ago, and the young coaches, but Jay took me under his wing, and he did things with me that he didn't do with a lot of people. We watched film together, and he used to tell me, he always told me that I'm gonna teach you how to be a coach. I'm gonna teach you how to do this. I'm gonna teach you how to do this. Yeah. And he would ask me, who you think should play this week? He just I felt like he would just pick my brain, just prepare me for God knows what. I would just have to play football. And he would clown people. He would tell people like, hey, Damon don't like white people. Yeah, but that's how we clown. Because I was quiet and I stayed to myself and I just wanted to play ball. And the man couldn't do no wrong in my eyesight. As a coach, I'm a young guy, so I'm looking at my time, guys. But I want to say this here because I really do want to wrap up episode number 2, and not linger too much in episode number 3. But there's a guy, the guy who had the greatest influence on me besides Jay Gruden is Kenny McIntyre. Kenny McIntyre was on the team with me. I don't know how long, but he was on that long enough for me to see this guy just sitting on his helmet, really not giving a care to do nothing. And in my mindset, I'm like, I'm trying to take all the reps. I'm trying to take as many reps as I can. I'm a starter. Kenny is not playing. So in my mind, it's like, he felt like, if I ain't playing, why the hell am I out here? Why am I here? Why am I come out to practice and bust my butt if I'm not playing? And I'm like, man, in my mind again, I'm like, hey, as long as I'm playing, I'm doing what I gotta do because this is a job. You know what I'm saying? This is my job. I don't want to lose this job. You know. And I was a good player my rookie year. I hustled. I'm first on kickoff on special teams. I'm down the field. I'm making as many tackles as I can. I'm physical. I'm not getting beat deep, but I'm not causing too many. I'm not causing no turnovers. I'm not turning no fumbles, no interceptions. I had maybe one interception in the regular season and scored a touchdown. But still just one in the arena football. They passed 99.9% of the time, and all I had was one interception. So we get to the point where we are 8-8 going into the playoffs, and one of the things I loved about Jay, I think anybody who knows anything about running football would agree that Jay was brilliant when it came down to his mindset, making decisions. And you might not like his decisions, but he was strong enough to do what he felt was best. And one of the things I witnessed him do was he decided to start Kenny McIntyre in the last regular season game against one of our big time rivals, the Nashville Cats, who had several great players, Andy Kelly, Corey Fleming, and the guy who became my nemesis, Tyrone Jones. But this game, so in arena football, so anyway, when Kenny started, there's a lot of different rules about the arena football league that I won't get into. Again, I'm 2 minutes over my time, but long story short, Kenny gets into the game, so I'm not starting because again, it's only 8. It's only 3 defensive backs. It's 8 men, so there's a substitution rule. So I played, but I didn't start the game. So and my play time was cut short. But Kenny gets in the game. I think the guy had maybe 2 or 3 interceptions, one-handed interceptions, maybe 5'10", 5'12", I don't know, 6 feet, if that, but long arms. And immediately after his game, he was nicknamed the Glove. I mean, he had the long arms where he played bump and run, and then catching the ball went-handed. So he basically shut Corey Fleming down. I know Fleming ain't gonna like that, but he shut Fleming down, man. A star was born instantly. But me being who I am, that kind of rubbed me the wrong way because I'm competitive. I wasn't envious. I wasn't jealous. But any true competitor not gonna like someone else shining and you're not shining. And I say that because what he did was it helped me, which I won't get into that because that's next season that this happened. But we end up winning the championship. But before we won the championship, I'm closing. I'm 3 minutes over time. So I had to find a way to make a name for myself. And so I'm watching even more film now because I know that when I get in the game, I have to. It's not going to be for long, but I have to make a difference. I gotta take advantage of the time that I have because this guy came in and that's exactly what he did. So I ended up catching an interception for a touchdown on the biggest stage on national television in Arena Bowl, and we basically blew out the Tampa Bay Storm. I can't remember the score, so nothing about the score. Again, I'm telling stories, but let me share this here. This is my last part for this. I'm done. I'm way over my time. So the off season came. We defended champions in 1998 because I want to start episode number 3 off with a different year. But this is the mindset. again, don't have the time. I can make the time, but the time for the backdrop is about, the more of this part is about the choices, the decisions you make, business decisions. And I would never tend to want to do this here, but I was led to do this here, and this is who I was. So we in the off season. I'm sitting. Jay brought me in. Everybody going one on one contract negotiation. I didn't have no agent. You don't need no agent. And I always say that. And he explained it to me. He asked me. He said, "Do you know how this process works?" I said, "Yes, but no." And so he broke it down to me. And he broke it down to me, and he was like, "I'm going to, how guys get paid, how guys get contracts, and he made a comment. I'm gonna put you in a bracket of some of the best players in the league, and that's how we're gonna negotiate your contract." And still, I was dumbfounded about the whole idea. And this is what I told Jay Cruz. I said, "Man, I tell you what, you pay me what you think I deserve, and whatever you give me, I consider that a blessing from the Lord. Because before God used you to give me this opportunity to be a professional football player, I was home working 3 jobs. Because God used you to do something that the NFL didn't want to do and that the Canadian League didn't do. And that was give me an opportunity to be a professional football player. That's how I did my contract negotiation after my rookie year as a defending champion. Now, the next conversation I had with Jay was this here. I asked him, who do you consider some of the best players in the league? He mentioned 2 names. He said Johnny Harris and Tracy Perkins. So the next thing I told Jay was, I said, "Well, look, do you have any film on those 2 guys?" He said, "Yeah." He turned around, he's right there. These were 2 of his old teammates who he played with in Tampa Storm, and won 4 championships with. I said, "All right, I'm going to study this film." And I studied the film the entire off season. And I'm going to end episode number 2 by saying this here. By the time I was done watching film, that's when Damon Mason, the D-Rock that everybody knows from arena football, was actually created and born. So guys, I hope you enjoyed episode number 2. I hope I was able to be a blessing to someone. Again, guys, yes, I've shared these stories before in more ways than one, but there's a reason why I'm sharing it. It's an opportunity to be a blessing for someone, because how can you help anyone if you haven't experienced some things? So I know, according to my faith, and according to my upbringing, that the things I have experienced were not just for my growth, based on choices that I made, but it's also for someone else's growth, if I'm willing to share the story. And again, it's not, the stories just like the Bible. I think I made that post yesterday. The things that happen in life, it can happen in a facet of life, because adversity comes in many different categories. But the bottom line is how you can handle these adversities. So my stories, I hope it can touch at least one person. If I can touch one person, then I've done my job. But then even better than that, if the Holy Spirit of God put on my heart to share my story, my job and my responsibility is to share the story. And then after that, leave the consequences to God. So with that being said, guys, take care, be blessed, and until next time, peace.